right, what will we get into today? I guess we're going to find out. I'll give you a couple highlights that I think we're going to get into, and we'll go from there. So I want to get that entire cabinet prepped, painted, and I mean painted all the way through the full art package, and get 3 coats of clear on there. If I can do that, then that's going to be a huge leap forward for the project, but that's pretty ambitious. The biggest issue with this thing is the head, honestly, so far. The head is so, it's so awkward and large. It's about the size of the lower cabinet. It's real hard to position it on a stand and in a way to where you can get inside of it and outside of it, and you're not worried about falling over and all those different things. And the color stacks are different for the head than on the lower, so there's a whole different order of business of about what color goes on when. And so that's going to slow things down and complicate things further. I need to color match that orange. I got off-the-shelf colors that I can see that'll work for the red and the white, but that orange, I'll need to custom mix that. And people ask me about my color, what's the paint code for this? There are no paint codes. I'm a painter by trade. I'm going to match this stuff on site if I don't have an off-the-shelf solution. So you can watch me do that, but it's nothing I can really put into words. There's no code I can give you. It's what you're going to see exactly what I do and how I go about it to get to where I want to be. Now, when it comes to the colors themselves, when you're dealing with some of these games, like I got this head right here, it's 40 years old practically. There's going to be a certain amount of age, so I need to interpret that color the best I can. So there's going to be the intent of that color, like what did they intend it to be, and then there's going to be the aging of that color. I don't want to match the age, I want to match the intent of it. So generally speaking, that means dialing the color up just a little bit, making it have a little bit more pop. So you don't look like you just painted an old, it's a new cabinet, but it looks old. I don't want that. So that's pretty much it. I mean, if I can get the whole art package on there and get it cleared with 3 coats of clear, then I'm going to be in a good spot for the screen printing, the leveling of the surface, the final clear, all those things. I'm working on the hardwood floor already. I've already gotten out ahead of that. I was clearing some play fields the other day, and while I was clearing them, I went ahead and shot some clear on that hardwood floor, start sealing that grain. So when you see me wheel this thing in here and start working on it, you'll notice the floor already looks a little bit slick, and that's for good reason. I've already cleared it once because I'm trying to get out ahead of that grain, because I need the clear coat to act as my primer when I'm doing a natural hardwood floor like that. So I think that's pretty good, right? That's all you need to know. Let's just do it. Shit, another day of this. All right. Here we go. From here on out, it's pretty much going to be action until I tell you what you need to know from that action, right? All right, watch my guide coat disappear, and when you watch it disappear, just watch the patterns it's disappearing in, and you'll see me, I'm a strategic sander. I'm not gonna just dig in one spot until the guide coat's gone. It helps you, but it's not good enough. You really need to have long flowing strokes and work the whole panel if you don't want it to look choppy.
Trust is something that comes easy when you've never been a victim. Lies and promises and words are said. It's your decision to accept them. Accept them. You don't know what you are giving up. No, you don't know what you are giving up. You don't know what you want. Thank
was that? Hopefully, you know, pretty good. You get the idea. That's basically 4 days worth of work right there alone. And then I try to, you know, I had so much stuff on my phone. My damn iCloud thing was telling me so I gotta delete some stuff. So I had to kind of shorten things up and make it flow the best I could. Throw some music up there. Sometimes it's era appropriate. Sometimes it fits the mood for whatever I think I'm doing or I'm doing at the time. And sometimes it's just random. But it's at least something to where you're not hearing Sanders and a whole lot of hell raising, because that's pretty much what happens when I'm doing that. A lot of frustrations painting something like that. It went pretty well. It fought me a little bit. I didn't throw that in here, not because I'm trying to hide that it fights me, but just, you know, people want to be entertained. They want to see something happen pretty quickly. They don't want to watch all your trials and tribulations. It can take hours to show that alone. But I did get it fully painted all the way through. Got 3 good coats of clear on there. It looks phenomenal. I'm going to be able to knock that down, put a matte clear on it. I got to put the guy on the head. I don't know if it'll be before or after I clear it. Either way, it'll be robust. It'll hold up. The kind of ink I use for silk screening is made for outdoor signs, so no matter when I put it on, it's going to be durable. We're not going to have any issues like, oh, it rubs off like a lottery ticket or something. It's not going to be anything like that. It's just a matter of sheen and texture. If I feel like it's not going to match my cabinet sheen or the texture of my cabinet, then I'm going to need to clear over it. But if it won't allow me to, I can't. So we'll figure that out. We'll run some test panels. And I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, you saw what you saw. You get the idea of what goes into that. Color matching is probably the biggest highlight, I feel, you know, how that goes. But it's not. It's a little bit self-explanatory in the video, I know. But, I mean, what are you going to tell people? Oh, here's some, it needs to be red, or it needs to be orange, or here's some yellow, here's some red, here's a little bit more orange, you know. You get the idea. And I think that's pretty good. So got a lot ahead of us. We're just getting started, unfortunately. I wish I could say that after 2 weeks in on this thing that I was even close to seeing the finish line, but I'm not. I'm just getting started. I haven't even finished painting the cabinet yet, and I haven't even touched the play fields, but that's what makes it a project, right? So there we go. Everything's looking pretty good, pretty happy. Hope it's, you know, flowing like it needs to flow for people that watch it without being too redundant, and there we go.